long. The last time we did this, I had a mustache.
I know. I don't think I've used my mic since then because no one's on PlayStation anymore. It's really depressing.
Well, I can't get on PlayStation right now. I'm at my grandparents' house so I can do a podcast. So
I was like, pulled out my mic, pulled it out here, and I was like, "Hello, old friend."
just you wait. A little over a month, we'll be doing it back on schedule.
The season is going to be exciting. After going through the teams, doing the season review again, like, I am so fucking ready. Like, my God.
Picking up my magazine tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
If you go over to the 2019, you're on that page. I got the logo on there. It's really nice.
Dude, that looks real nice. Yeah. I'm going to have to... I got to make the sheet, Google Sheets, because it only makes sense at this point, and then everybody can look at it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to have to be a project. I'd take a day to just do it. All right. Well, let's fucking do this thing.
Not gonna lie to you, I'm a little scared.
Same. God, I don't remember how the pod.
How do I talk?
Ooh, welcome everybody to the 2019 Web.com podcast season.
That was like a key change from last year. That was up an octave.
Dude, I'm breaking it all out this year. I'm not holding anything back anymore. You know, this is year 3 of the podcast. Year 3.
Wow.
It's year 4 if you count that, isn't it?
That 3.5, yeah.
Where I would like talk
on
my phone into your mic.
I'm just going to say 3, but yeah, we know it was a little bit earlier. But yeah, we're back. It's 2019, and we have the Web.com rookie draft, a.k.a. Summer Spectacle, coming up in, what is it now?
Is it
9 days?
Friday. Next Friday.
Oh my God.
About 9 days. Yeah.
9 days. So it's coming up fast, and we're going to come out of that draft with a better understanding of where we sit heading into our 2019 7th season of Web.
Ooh. Wow.
We should clear up the start time of the draft too. It sounds like 8.
8? Is that what you want to do?
What was Gabe's bedtime? Gabe's
7:30 to 7, I think.
Maybe 8:30 then, huh?
Yeah. I mean,
Gosh,
I'm fine with whatever.
8:30.
Okay. You heard it here first. 8:30 next Friday at the Speed Shop.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, now that we got that cleared up, let's just jump right into it.
Oh, man.
The 2019 Web.com mock draft special, first show of the year, coming at you. And we have, for the first time in franchise history, selecting first overall, Dan.
Just feels weird looking at that, honestly.
Pick acquired in the Alvin Kamara trade from
Blockbuster.
In this biggest trades in recent memory. Alvin Kamara going to Dirty Dave, who is making plays for this season.
It's not often studs become available anymore in Web.
It's true.
Dave jumped on it right when it happened.
Yeah.
He's got Kamara and McCaffrey.
Yeah, dude. That honestly, like, in working on the season in review, which does exist, just so everybody knows.
Yeah.
The Kamara McCaffrey duo is honestly one of the best in the league. I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dave decided to move on from this pick. Got a superstar, one of the top offensive assets in the league. And in exchange, Dan, one of the most successful teams in Webb's history, coming off of his first non-postseason year, His first time he missed the playoffs.
6-8 he was. I looked at that today. I didn't
really?
remember last year that well. I refreshed myself. Dan was 6-8 last year.
Yeah, 6-8, no playoffs, and he immediately turned around and made a lot of moves. He's made a lot of moves this offseason, but none bigger than this. So with the first overall selection, unlike last year, we will be doing a consensus pick where Caleb is the resident draft expert this season.
On account of lack of knowledge from 66%.
Oh, okay, sure.
Transparency.
Just full disclosure, I have the second pick and a single third round pick, so I haven't been up to speed, if you will, on the rookies this year.
Speed. Okay.
All right. Well, how do we want to do this? Do we want to?
I mean, is he going
to pretend? Let's pretend we're the war room for Dan's team.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, I mean, if the rumors, if the Schefter rumors are indeed true, it appears that DK Metcalf is going to be the number one overall pick. Not as locked in as last year, of course, but it sounds like that's what he's leaning towards. Is that the right pick?
I heard a report from Webb Frazier, specifically to me, he didn't even tweet it, that Dan may be more undecided than anyone thinks. Even though we all think he is somewhat undecided, I think it's completely up in the air. He may have decided by now. This was about a month ago, but he was asking Webb Frazier who he should pick at 1.0.
I suppose I should disclose that he was also asking web reporter Caleb. I heard through the grapevine.
So exclusive breaking stories from both of our esteemed web reporters say that DK Metcalf is not as firmly within that target zone for Dan.
I'm just saying it's not often that you see the original gangster Dan, the original Dynasty gangster, come in and be that undecided that he is now asking who his fellow high pickers would take in that scenario.
I mean, it's tough. DK's his guy, but is it the right value pick there? Like, could you get him a few picks later? Like, or do you just jump on it while you can? Like, it's actually a really tough decision.
And it's like, can you even trade back? Because everyone knows.
Seriously.
They know they have him right where they want him.
Yeah.
They can have him overpaid. Like, say, who's that for? I don't even know. This is how much I know.
Four is Dave.
Yeah. Oh.
So possible, but like
Dave's like, I know you want DK, but at the same time, I'm kind of playing my cards.
Yeah.
If he takes, I could take DK.
Yeah, if he takes DK, that pushes all these other players that are supposed to go one down, one slot. So it kind of benefits us, but I don't know. We haven't really made any progress. Are we taking DK?
At the same time, though, let's talk about DK. What do we have? What is the player DK Metcalf? Obviously, freak athlete, potentially generational type athlete at the wide receiver position. But maybe not as polished as you'd like to see. And he ended up being a second-round pick to Seattle. So a team that needed a receiver and, has Russell Wilson. And, I mean, it seems like a pretty good landing spot. And there's been good reports so far, at least, I mean, for what you can take them for. So, I mean, is it worth it? I mean, maybe. I mean, he has the potential, but
DK is one of those guys. You turn on his film, you watch him, you come away being like, "This guy's a second rounder," and then you'd search his name, and a shirtless pic comes up. That video when he got drafted, and you're like, "All right, this is my 1.01," and that's where I think Dan is right now. Actually, I think that's I don't know if he's ready to take on that kind of risk with his first top pick.
It's like you're shooting for the stars with DK. It could be the ceiling is so high, but the floor is also so low. So could he go a safer route? If he do we think he goes receiver? He could go N'Keal Harry, who's probably a little bit safer, but obviously the ceiling isn't as high. So
I think if he goes a safer route, I don't think he's going to get himself to take another wide receiver over DK. I think he would get himself to take Jacobs.
What is the running back situation for him? He's got Le'Veon back now, right?
Yeah, Le'Veon is coming back, so that's huge. And then
he added Fournette.
Adds Fournette, so that's, kind of a player that's up in the air right now. He's been moved about that 3 times this offseason.
Yeah, he's been.
Fournette injury risk, though. What's he got on that? Oh, Jordan Howard?
He's on the Eagles now. Yeah. They just drafted Miles Sanders, so his value kind of took a dump. And then there's just guys you're not, like Devonta Freeman, maybe.
Oh, that's interesting.
Kenyon Drake, maybe. It's not really outside of Le'Veon, who's it's hard to say is really a sure thing after sitting out a full year. You don't really know.
Yeah, and there's.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that bad of an idea to take another high upside guy. I think Devonta Freeman's got some upside on his bench, but if Fournette gets hurt, it might be nice to have Jacobs as a potential high upside guy.
And you add things like Tyreek suspension and what's going on with him. AJ Green's getting older with those injuries. He could also go receiver, honestly. But
that's
honestly,
okay.
That's the other thing with Tyreek.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Where's the thing? Where is it?
I was going to talk about Tyreek. I don't know if that's a change of subject.
No. That's fine. Yep.
I was going to say when we knew that when we were thinking he was locked in on DK, that's when Tyreek's status was a lot more up in the air. And now it's kind of looking like he might play.
Yeah.
So that could change things.
Yeah. The good news here, if you're Dan, is you're going into the 2019 season with a super strong roster. This isn't a team that needs the number 1 overall pick to be successful. This is a team that's going to go into the season as one of the favorites, I would say, to maybe win the Big 5 or at least get back to the postseason. So in that position, he kind of gets to grab his guy. There's no consensus guy, and so if he thinks that DK is going to have the best long-term projection, then he can grab him. And if he thinks that's Josh Jacobs, then grab him. So it's a good position and a bad position. It's easier when it's just I'm taking Saquon.
I don't know how, but we also missed Sony's name in there. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
because he's hiding in the flex.
Yeah. So. Okay, where are we?
Okay, let's. I think it's DK. I think it's going to end up being DK.
Yeah, if I was betting on it, I'd say DK.
That's what
I was just going to say, I think this is probably our most up in the air 1.01 of all time, huh?
It's certainly one of them. The Corey Davis pick was, a little bit debated, but
yeah, that would be the only other one.
Yeah.
Either way, it's gonna be crazy.
Oh yeah, this draft has huge potential to be a crazy draft night. I think you're gonna see a lot of moves.
Yeah.
We already see it normally, and with a board that's this wide open, I think you're gonna see guys trying to, either move down or jump up to grab their guy. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So.
I could
DK Metcalf, number 1 overall.
DK. That's an interesting one because he has been going. His ADP is right around the end of the first round right now. Would that be correct? Really? I don't know. That's where I've seen him.
I'm seeing. Yeah, I guess you're right. I'm seeing around 7 right now.
So, would definitely be one of the biggest reaches. The biggest reach for 1.01.
Yeah, but potentially a huge payoff in the end. We'll see. All right. So then number 2 overall, another prominent web staple Pac-5, the face of the Pac-5, despite missing the postseason last year, unable to defend his back-to-back crown. But Frazier Fresh locks into the number 2 pick this year.
How wild is it seeing Dan and Frazier picking 1-2? It just feels weird.
It's really weird. And they're both going to go into the season in just as strong of a position
Yeah.
as they were last year. So, and they get the top 2 picks. So,
A little savvy Derrick Henry trade there. That looked really nice until the last couple weeks. So.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So, Frazier, you're in a really good position here. A little bit, as much as your team is going to go in as potentially favorite to win the Pac-5 yet again in 2019, this pick is going to help you quite a bit. You have some aging players on your team, and you got a few holes where, you could certainly use an upgrade. And with this number 2 pick, you can potentially get that guy to just plug in and get that production immediately. So, without giving away too much of your draft,
all right, I feel pretty confident talking about it because at this point, still a ton of it depends on who Dan takes because there's 3 people that I'm deciding between. I think that's pretty obvious at this point, so I'm just gonna say it. But when it comes down to the 2 that I'm picking between, it could be, I don't know. I'm not going to go outright, but like if it gets down to like a N'Keal, like if Dan takes Josh Jacobs and it gets to N'Keal DK, that's an interesting decision. Deciding between like Josh Jacobs and N'Keal is an interesting decision. And then deciding between Josh Jacobs and DK is not like deciding between Jacobs and N'Keal at all.
Yeah.
So it's completely different. So each scenario is like its own thing, and I haven't decided.
It's really gonna come down to whatever Dan does. It's
Yeah.
You're
So
not
I
gonna know until
5 minutes to figure out on draft night.
Yeah. Well, at least you haven't narrowed it down a little bit. Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
With the information that we have, Dan has selected DK Metcalf, number 1.
So
number 2, you're deciding between Jacobs and Harry. So N'Keal Harry goes first round of the Patriots, and Jacobs went top of the 2nd, or was it in the 1st?
It was the late first.
Okay. So Jacobs to the Raiders, late 1st. Caleb, would you like to take the lead on this pick?
Oh man, this is a tough one. Just because you really like to see him bolster the wide receivers. Julio and
Josh Gordon's coming back.
Oh God, yeah. Okay, well, yeah, like that. Like there isn't a lot of depth at wide receiver. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. Marquez Valdes-Scantling has some upside. James Washington maybe, but like nothing you could really rely on his bench that could like start at wide receiver next year. So that's a little worrying. But also at running back, you've got the mystery behind Todd Gurley, who was your workhorse for a couple of years here. He's got his little injury bug, and then you have both the Seattle running backs, one of which was in your flex, and one is a starting running back, and that's probably not ideal when the season comes around. So
we might look at making a change there in the starting lineup at that point.
Yeah,
Maybe
well, yeah,
pull
but then
one of those guys out.
Who are you sliding in? Like LaShawn McCoy? Do we still believe he's got it?
That's a good question. I was actually planning on dropping McCoy.
Oh, yeah. Well, that leaves you with.
I'm not sure if I actually will, but
yeah, I mean that leaves you with Justin Jackson and Jamal.
That's the scary thing.
Yeah, so I think I'd probably go. I'd take Josh Jacobs. Just with the mystery, like the Gurley thing, like it's probably not a big deal. And then having both the Seattle running backs, like they're probably not both going to be able to start. And then outside of that, like it's LaShawn McCoy and Justin Jackson and Jamal Williams, and that's not going to be enough probably depth to get to the season. So I'd go. My vote is for Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, I think that what your biggest concern was last season was getting consistent production out of your RB2 spot. And, you have to hope that Rashad Penny's going to take a step forward this season. You're kind of counting on that, your number 5 pick from last year. But you also
Chris Carson, though. I don't like having both of those guys.
Yeah, and it's nice. You have whatever one is going to step up.
True. Yeah.
But you're also in a really good position to grab what is at this point the consensus number one running back from this draft, which is Josh Jacobs, in a really good position where he's gonna, lead that backfield, and potentially, slot in beside Gurley and be a really good 1-2 punch again for you. So to me, I think Caleb, the Jacobs pick makes a lot of sense, and I totally agree that I think if Metcalf is the first pick, then Jacobs is a really nice fit for David Wilson Batman.
And
Frazier, would you like to provide any insight, or would you like to hold your cards?
No comment.
All right.
All right.
So we got Metcalf, and we have Jacobs, and now we have another Pod Squad member on the board. The only person in the first round still holding the rights to their first round pick. Second year in a row that has been a thing.
Not only the first round, but the first 19 picks.
God, that is so ridiculous.
Like you look in the thing, you just see it via Josh, via Carter, via Dave, via Parker. It's like, Jesus.
Yeah, it's wild. But Caleb, you held on to it, and thank God that you did, because what was supposed to be maybe a good, after your Cinderella 2017, maybe a bounce back and, have a real good year.
That feels so long ago now.
Yeah.
Did you ever trade this pick and get it back, or have you owned it the whole time?
I think I've owned it the whole time.
Oh.
May have to go back and look at it, but I don't think I've traded it.
That would be incredibly surprising. But
yeah,
no. Not a great 2018 for you, Caleb. You get that, number 3 pick. And you have a really young team. We talked about it all the last season on the podcast about, you have these young up-and-coming guys in your core. Now you get to add another one with this 3rd pick. So I'll ask you the same question. Would you like to provide any insights, or will you be passing the baton on this?
I can't. How did Frazier answer that? It's tough.
He has 3 players in his mind.
I danced around it like a
okay. Let's see. Well, I have more than that in my mind right now. There's just so many. I guess. I mean, Frazier has all the possibilities at 2 of like what Dan takes, but then what Dan takes, and you add whatever Frazier does because of that, and I'm sitting here like, I guess I'll throw names out there, but like he's contemplating N'Keal Harry there. I'd obviously have to contemplate him, but I'm also looking for another running back. So, do I start to dive into Miles Sanders or David Montgomery? That's sort of where I'm at. I guess that'll be my few cents.
All right, Frazier, would you like to take the lead? Caleb.
Sure, I call BS on that. I think it's a very easy selection here if things go that way they've gone.
Okay.
Really?
I think it's your pick.
I think it's N'Keal. I think you have to go N'Keal here. I was not impressed by those other 2 running backs. I won't say not impressed. I think based on what I think of N'Keal here, I would never take those other 2 running backs over him, is what, in my opinion, what I would say. So that's my war room take. I think this is an easy selection here. It is N'Keal Harry, wide receiver, Patriots.
Yeah, I'm actually going to agree with that. Not necessarily for the same reason. I think that, you do have an interesting, you're going to have to think about it maybe for a little bit, but I just look at your roster and I'm seeing, you got your cornerstone in Joe Mixon. Like, this is a guy that's going to be your RB1. You got Kerryon Johnson, who was very impressive as a rookie, hoping he can take that next step in his sophomore season and be that RB2 to slot in beside Mixon. And, you do need running back depth, but I think at this point, the wide receivers need to be addressed more than the running backs. And with kind of how the player pool is set up right now, I think N'Keal Harry makes a ton of sense at number 3. and he's going to be a guy that could potentially immediately contribute for your team in the Patriots offense. So, any thoughts?
What do you think about that? We lost him. He's gone.
Oh God, he took no comment to a whole new level.
No, I wouldn't be mad with N'Keal Harry. I'll say that.
All right. Okay.
I like how you insert. What the?
That?
I just saw Bigfoot.
What?
Just ran across the screen. That was a ghost. It came out of nowhere. Oh, but yeah, I respect you considering your options there at running back. I just think N'Keal.
Yeah. All right. So number 4 pick then, originally Dan's. So even had Dan retained his own pick, it still would have been incredibly high for what we're used to. But that pick now belongs to Dave. So this is a team that grabbed Alvin Kamara, already has a really impressive core of guys, and now he has Kamara and this number 4 pick. So what do we see Dave doing with this pick?
All right. So, Caleb, what are we working with here for guys available?
Okay, so we just sort of went past our tier for receivers. I think N'Keal and DK are sort of on their own. So now we're down to the tier of receivers with like A.J. Brown on the Titans from Mississippi. You got Paris Campbell from the Colts. He's from Ohio State. Deebo Samuel on the 49ers from South Carolina. And Hollywood, all at wide receiver. Or we have running backs who are still maybe a tier down from Josh Jacobs, but David Montgomery on the Bears from Iowa State, and then Miles Sanders on the Philadelphia Eagles from Penn State. So we sort of went past it's debatable, but a tier break after the first couple 3. Oh, and also tight end TJ Hawkinson.
Ooh.
Well, you certainly have to consider the Ohio State implications with this pick when talking about Paris Campbell. However, I don't think Dave's going to do that. I think Dave's going to be sensible. And, there's 2 running backs that right now the ADP shows would be a steal at 4, or at least one that would be a steal and one that would be kind of right on the money. So does Dave need that running back enough here, or will he reach for a receiver to fill a need?
Okay, so in Dave's situation, I'm going to put myself in Dirty Dave's shoes here. So I'm sitting at 4. I have picks coming up at 8 and 10. And Caleb just named a bunch of wide receivers that he kind of grouped together there. And I think Dave may have them in a similar group together where he's thinking he's going to be able to get at least one of those guys at 8 and 10, maybe 2 of those guys. Those Paris Campbell, A.J. Brown type of guys in that group. Yep. So I think in this situation, David Montgomery's been going pretty high in some rookie drafts that I've seen. I think either him or Miles Sanders would be a good pick for Dave. And I think Dave's ready to kind of take that next step and try and make the playoffs. And I think David Montgomery is in a little bit of a better situation to produce for Dave right away. So I think that would be my pick for Dave right here.
Yeah, for me, like, wide receiver it's a glaring need for this team at this point. We're talking about a team that's, maybe even trying to get into the playoffs next season. And he definitely has the running back talent to put himself in that conversation. The wide receivers need to be addressed, but the problem becomes, is reaching for a 2019 hot fix the solution in the greater plan here of what Dave's trying to do? And I don't know what the answer to that question is. David Montgomery feels like a great value pick, BPA type of a pick. And, you add that guy that's, potentially going to be the lead back in Chicago. And but is he going to play? He could flex maybe, but I think a guy like AJ Brown or even, Paris Campbell. I mean, those are guys where you're probably reaching a little bit, but maybe they fill those gaps that Dave needs to close. So, I mean, what do you think, Caleb? You know more about these players than either of us.
So yeah, well, first of all, I agree with what Fraser's saying here. He's got picks 8 and 10 later in the draft where those receivers are sort of lumped into. So odds are he likes probably a few of those receivers, and at least one of them is going to fall to him at 8, maybe another at 10. So here I'm thinking there's pretty much just two running backs left in this draft where it's like they're probably going to get significant starting time in David Montgomery and Miles Sanders. So then it's basically just picking between the two if you like one more than the other, or David Montgomery might have a more clear-cut way into carries. So yeah, I think Dave's gonna go running back here just with where he's positioned in the draft and take David Montgomery. David Montgomery is a really good back, great contact balance, tough to tackle. He doesn't have that top gear or anything. Like he doesn't break big runs usually. Like he'll get caught from behind, but you have a guy like Tariq Cohen on the Bears team. It's like a perfect 1-2 combo. So I think David Montgomery is a great pick here for Dave at 4.
What I like about taking a running back here too is Corf addressed that he does need wide receivers, and he'd be at a point where you need to reach here. But taking David Montgomery here, since you have your 2 starting running backs just entrenched in Kamara and McCaffrey there, he's going to go into your flex, which can help take a little bit of a pressure off trying to find another wide receiver because you're only starting 3 at that point. If David Montgomery does happen to become a solid flex option there. Yeah. So it takes a little pressure off both ways there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Dave Montgomery, number 4. Lock it in.
Lock it in.
All right. All right. Number 5 overall coming from Kelvin is your 2018 Web.com champion, Josh.
How does that sound, Josh? I'm sure that sounds good.
He's going to be champion for another 6 months. So he's got a lot of time to enjoy the ring of that. But right now, he gets a really good opportunity to add a piece to a team that, let's face it, still needs a lot of help.
Yeah.
All right, let's pull up Josh here.
I'm gonna throw it out. I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm gonna put T.J. Hockenson out there. I think it has to be T.J. Hockenson.
I was gonna say that as my biggest need for Josh would be tight end.
Yeah.
I haven't looked in a while, but what is his best tight end? Is it that guy on the Steelers, right? McDonald?
Yeah, Vance McDonald.
Yeah. So that's my biggest need for Josh. Whether he has watched the tape, graded Hockenson in a place where he feels comfortable taking him there is another question. But yeah, definitely my biggest need for Josh. And I think based on what I've watched of TJ Hockenson, I would be comfortable taking him there with that tight end situation if I was Josh.
Yeah.
I think that's what I would go with too. I think I would pull the trigger.
And Josh, he tried to address that tight end need last season. And, it ultimately, he won the title. That, that Gronkowski trade wasn't a long-term trade, and he knew that when he made it. But, yeah, now, that hole opens right back up, and here's an opportunity to grab a guy who the NFL drafted in, was he top 10 or was it just outside?
That was top 10, I think.
Yeah.
Like 8, right? Or something like that.
Remember the Lions picked. It was early.
So, I mean, this is a guy that was valued extremely highly in the NFL. And, I mean, we've seen the effect that a strong week-to-week tight end presence can have for a team. And, like you guys said, this is clearly the biggest need for Josh's team. Like, he does have other holes that he needs to address, but in this situation, grabbing a cornerstone tight end makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
and I think it's a no-brainer.
All right. Caleb says no brainer, and
that's for me.
I'm gonna agree with him, honestly.
The other angle I'm gonna give here too is if Josh, I'm not sure what his expectations are of his team this year, but if he's expecting another playoff run, I think it's a lot easier to trade to kind of patch up your wide receiver core, or maybe to a lesser extent your running back core midway through the season through trades than it would be.
Oh yeah, to grab a
just
elite tight end or even a good tight end.
The supply of tight ends is usually very little.
Yeah,
not
really looking to deal
for absurd prices.
Yeah,
that fact. So
yeah, Hawkinson.
I mean, I could deal one of my plenty of them, but I don't think I will.
Okay,
whatever. All right. So easy pick there for Josh. Number 5, according to Pod Squad. We'll see.
Dan again.
Number 6. Yep. Here he is again after selecting DK Metcalf. Number 1 overall. Dan picks at 6. This pick originally was Brock's. So Dan again. What do we got this time?
How did I lose this pick? Oh, trading for Penny. That's right. Damn it.
Oh. So he took DK at pick 1.
Mm-hmm. Let's not gonna lie, Caleb. This is where you're gonna need to start carrying me.
Okay. So
I said top 5 originally, and I think I had some pretty good takes so far, but I think I'm about to fall off a cliff.
All right. So he took a wide receiver at 1. Now it's up to whether I think here there's still one player I think that is in a tier above maybe some of these guys. Miles Sanders. He already added DK, so he added a receiver. I think he can balance it out. Grab a running back in Sanders, who just he produced at Penn State. He was sitting behind Saquon. He looked really good to me, but Philadelphia is kind of a weird place because is Ajayi still there too?
Yep.
They signed Jordan Howard. Like, there's sort of Corey Clement's still there, and like they get the best out of their players, which is why I like Miles Sanders. But it's also, is he going to be getting like significant playing time right away? So if I'm Dan, I'm taking Miles Sanders. But if he likes one of these receivers, he can dive in and have his pick of the litter, basically.
Yeah, I think this is a tough pick to mock draft for because I think this is literally going to come down. I think Dan's going to completely ignore his team for this one and just take whoever he has graded higher at this point.
Yep. Yeah, I mean that's the other thing too is I think, you also have to think about Darrell Henderson is getting a ton of like traction.
He is. I didn't realize how high he was.
Yeah, like ADP right now for Henderson is number 6,
which I think is a little crazy, but
I mean, it's one of those things where Sanders might not get early touches in Philadelphia, and Henderson, even though Gurley is there, they're talking about reducing his workload and things like that. And maybe there are opportunities in LA for a guy like Henderson. And, it might, like Brock said, come down to just which one of these guys does Dan value more.
Yeah. On a lot of the rankings, Sanders is top 1. And then, but if he wants to go receiver, like he can go with whatever one he likes the most here. Like his options are really wide open.
Yeah. If I had to make a guess, I would say Sanders, just by value alone, makes a lot of sense here. With the receiver at 1, DK at 1, Sanders feels like a good pick here at 6 for Dan.
I'm gonna agree with that too, and I was also gonna say we've reached a point where we can notice trends kind of in the draft picks of people, and Dan is notoriously a big trader on draft day. He loves to wheel and deal on draft day. This could be a spot where I wouldn't be shocked if Dan's looking to get some value out of as far as draft picks, maybe pick up a few extra second rounders here. So I wouldn't be shocked to see that.
I could definitely
totally agree. All right, number 7 then. We get From Tim originally is Kelvin's first pick of the draft. Kelvin will be in attendance for his first Web.com draft, or so they're telling me. So
should I bring like a cake or something?
We got to do something. It's been 7 years.
Yeah.
Oh wow, it's a long time.
Well,
All right,
okay.
So Calvin's first ever in-person draft pick will be number 7 next Friday.
It's amazing.
I absolutely need to bring a cake. I think I'm going to bring a bottle of wine too. This is a celebration.
Well, and what's funny too is like Kelvin has this reputation for never being at the draft, but he's also been one of Webb's best draft day guys. You know, he has really cashed in on some of his picks ever since we started, even the first draft.
Considering he finds out who was drafted in like the last 10 picks immediately before he makes his pick, he's been pretty good.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, I mean, I don't want to give too much away, with the season in review, but I did do a nice little recap of the draft as I always do. And, Kelvin Saquon and Calvin Ridley in round 1, like he really hit on 2 guys once again. Like he had one of the best classes last season just with those 2 players. So
saw his opportunity to trade for Saquon, took it, changed his future.
Yeah. So with number 7 overall, he's got Saquon, James Conner. He made a couple trades last season. He's got Jarvis Landry now. Brandon Cook's still there. What do we see for Kelvin?
Traded for Evan Ingram too.
Yeah,
Evan Ingram.
That was part of the Cooper Kupp deal.
That was at the end of last year. Okay.
Yeah, it was right at the trade deadline, right? Yeah, that sounds right. So Kelvin's a deal. Yeah, that was a wild one. I remember messaging him on my way to class, like 2 minutes before 11, like, is this a deal we're going to get done? I was like, God, trades. Okay. So, Kelvin's team is surprised. Like it's like very well-rounded. It looks like at first I saw Latavius Murray at RB2 and I was like, uh-oh. But then I remember James Conner is still there and he's going to be the guy in Pittsburgh. So a surprise.
He's got to get his starting lineup sorted out to help us out.
Yeah. Come on.
And for the preview pod.
Please.
I can't be missing those guys.
Yeah. So he can pretty much do whatever he wants here, I feel like. He's got decent starting lineup. This is more just what I picture in my head, a player that Kelvin would take. One of these wide receivers, and I'm going to go with Hollywood Brown on the Baltimore Ravens. People are kind of they're picky on this guy just with his size and everything. If it's going to translate to NFL, and he's got Lamar Jackson throwing the ball to him, so that has people a little iffy. But this guy is a proven deep threat. Lamar can air it out as little as people like to talk about it, but he's in an offense devoid of wide receivers for the past like 5 years. I think this is the most exciting guy they've had in a while, and he has a very good chance of making an impact early with the Ravens.
Hey, Mingo. Tim wants to join the pod with an impromptu message.
All right.
Are you able to shoot him an invite?
I need an email.
What's his email? I don't remember. It's like Tim something.
T Bertram 12.
Yeah, that sounds right. Okay. We're talking with Kelvin, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he took. I am taking Hollywood.
Caleb has him taking Hollywood Brown.
Okay. I was going to go along with that. I think wide receiver is a good selection for Kelvin here, just based on how the board's shaping up. With the Miles Sanders being taken, you get those top 2. Right. Damn it. Is that it? The 1990s? Why is it ringing like that?
I'm at my grandparents' house, man.
I haven't heard that sound in years. I tried to
Wasn't
power
sure if you
through
guys-
it. I was like, it's just a phone. Power through it. Keep talking. And I was like, no, that phone's from like 20 years ago. You need to stop.
Vintage.
We need to address this.
I wasn't sure if you guys heard it or not. I thought you guys were just
No,
making weird faces.
I absolutely heard that. It was the only thing I could hear.
Destroying my eardrums.
Was I talking about wide receivers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Caleb's on the right track here. Wide receiver, I think that's a good pick for Calvin based on the board. At this point, I don't know a lot about these guys, so I'm going to go ahead and just roll with Caleb's pick of Hollywood Brown. From what I hear, he's pretty fast. Is that right?
Not slow. Not slow. Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, Robot Caleb coming up.
Rapid.
It was like,
Oh my god.
Not slow enough.
no, school.
I didn't even do anything. This was Area 51 aliens
Oh
fucking
my
hacking
God.
into my mic.
Full disclosure, I haven't watched Ferris Campbell, but I do like his name, so I think I would consider him there.
You don't like Hollywood Brown?
I mean, yeah, I can't really. Well, it's honestly, it's going to come down to preference. Like
Yeah.
you have
That's
AJ Brown, you have Hollywood, you have Paris Campbell, Debo Samuel. Like all these guys are so close together from what
Yeah.
it seems like
and
that
they're all like in
end
solid.
up being, yeah.
they're all
solid
in like
landing
nice
spots.
spots. So
Yeah.
it's really
I mean,
gonna
I-
come down to who you like.
It could be Brown as much as it could be Samuel. You know, I can't say, so I'm going to roll with your expertise, Caleb. I'm going to say Hollywood.
Okay.
That cat there behind you, I'm not really sure on the whole vibes that he's giving out right now.
It's
I wasn't
crotchety
sure.
old woman.
I thought it was like a stat. I was like, it wasn't moving for a while in the beginning. I'm like, is that thing alive or is it just like stuffed? And I saw it turn its head at me.
She's sitting on the chair. It's making me uncomfortable.
Classic. All right. Number 8. We have originally belonging to me, then traded to Josh because of course it was, and then finally ending with Dave. So Dave, another pick here in the first, 8th overall. And what did we have him doing last time? Dave went David Montgomery. So
Yeah, so
running
now he
back
gets to
there.
pick one of his receivers.
Yes. So a
So that's-
player that I was maybe going to say at number 4 in AJ Brown, available here at 8.
Same with Ohio State alum Paris
And
Campbell.
Paris Campbell. And Paris
Yeah.
Campbell makes a lot more sense right now than he did then.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just the fact that this is an Ohio State player and a very talented Ohio State player, one that, warrants this selection. Does Dave go Paris Campbell here?
Yeah, that's my pick for him. Campbell, he's got that speed, that elite speed that we love to see. And like whenever you watched, I know Corey, if you watched Dwayne Haskins, like it just be like a nice little slant dump off to Paris Campbell, and he just somehow make nothing.
Special, the dump off.
Yeah, it was the bread and butter, and Paris Campbell would turn a 10-yard gain into an 80-yard touchdown. Like that's the kind of player he is. And when you put him on the Colts with Andrew Luck in that offense, like I can picture it being just a beautiful fit for him. And with that Ohio State background, I think it'd be a great pick for Dave.
Yeah, I think Paris Campbell made Dwayne Haskins look a lot better than Dwayne Haskins actually is. And
he
now you
padded
look
those
at,
stats.
yeah, totally. He definitely did. That's indisputable. I mean, whatever you want to say about Haskins, like Campbell certainly helped him. And now, with, Andrew Luck, this kind of an offense that he can fit into, and you got to expect that. Andrew Luck's kind of been in this weird zone of like, do we still love Andrew Luck as this franchise guy? But I think last season he kind of proved that he is that guy. So
yeah,
I think Paris Campbell makes a lot of sense both with the Ohio State connection and just with the player and the landing spot. I think it's good all around.
Yeah. And Frazier just ran out on us, so
I'm
I'm assuming.
Frazier,
He's back.
do you have any?
From what I've heard of Paris Campbell, he's pretty good.
Okay.
Okay.
We got pretty good, and we got Ohio State. Lock it in.
Yep. Paris Campbell to Dave.
All right.
Yeah, lock it in.
Lock it in.
Good pick.
Number 9, former 2-time Web.com champion, coming off of a disappointing season, but picking number 9 with Carter's original pick is Parker.
Acquired via the David Johnson trade, I believe.
And he will have 2 more of those coming up.
So he will get his first return on that here.
So what are we thinking? Number 9? I mean, okay, I'm just going to say this. A.J. Brown is still available, and I know Tennessee might not be the most desirable landing spot for a wide receiver. We've seen that with Corey Davis, but is the talent too much to pass up, or is there another guy here?
He's got Corey Davis, which makes it weird.
A little tougher to take A.J. Brown while Corey Davis is on your team.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I go that route, but I don't.
Is this where we finally see like a Darrell Henderson is getting all this hype like back into the first round? Does Parker go in that direction? Like he's got Tariq Cohen in his flex right now, and it's like they just drafted David Montgomery, and after that at running back, it's guys like Matt Breida and Naheem Hines and Gus Edwards, who like some of them have upside, but it's like, can you start them? So he could be thinking Darrell Henderson. He could be thinking one of these wide receivers, or he could. Maybe it's way too early to be talking about this, but defense, a linebacker. How early are we putting? We putting.
Can we get our first round defensive player?
I'm just. How early do we take Devin White? How early do we take Devin White?
Is that there's a perfect storm this season for this to happen, because not only have we seen the impact that defense can make, Darius Leonard, but we also have a group of players right now that there's not a name here that's really jumping off the screen. So, with Parker's defense, being kind of this perennial, top scoring defense, and it looked a little bit different last season. He had some injuries and stuff, Khalil Mack and that, but I mean, Devin White looks like a good player to slot alongside Bobby Wagner.
Yeah.
Is that a realistic pick here at 9?
I wouldn't hate it. The other name I want to bring up, I'm not sure what his feelings are, is Mike Gesicki, second round pick last year, but Noah Fant, maybe a little bit of a reach, but also a little bit of a need.
Yeah. Chris Herndon just got suspended.
So he does have hurt. Yeah, I didn't see him.
I mean, he's suspended but that's not probably a big deal for his future. And then, honestly, after those top 3, or really DeAndre Hopkins and Devontae Adams, and then Corey Davis, it's guys like Robbie Anderson, Marquise Lee, John Ross, DJ Chark, and that's it. Like the wide receiver is pretty thin for him. So now I'm starting to change now that I'm looking through it, I'm starting to shift towards receiver for him, honestly.
Okay, the other thing, so I'm looking at what picks he has left in this draft. He has 2 4th rounders, and that's it. So
this is kind of his big pick.
Yeah.
Unless he makes a move. One name that hasn't been thrown out yet, and it's if we're not going to take A.J. Brown because of Corey Davis already being on the team, it's Deebo Samuel. I know I've been talking about this guy for a while. He lands on the 49ers. I think, a second round pick by them? I'm pretty sure. Very talented receiver. He falls into a really good situation there. They don't really have a clear-cut one. They've got Pettis, but this is a guy that compete right up there with Pettis. So I think a guy like Deebo Samuel would also be a very good pick here. And that's who I'm leaning towards more.
I haven't watched much of A.J. Brown at all. Maybe not even a play other than what I saw from watching TK. But I have watched Deebo, and I agree with Caleb there. I do like Deebo's game. You avoid pairing up Corey Davis with AJ Brown. You avoid that Titans offense altogether. Try and buy
this
stock in that 49ers.
Yeah, up and coming 49ers offense with Jimmy G coming back, and so I think I'm going Debo.
I just don't think I could commit to defense this early, even though I wouldn't hate it if he did it. It would be a bold move. It'd be a monumental day in web history, actually.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is Parker has a lot of options with this pick, and from a draft day perspective, he can't really go wrong. Time will tell what the right pick is, but he has, a running back in Darrell Henderson. He has a number of wide receivers, and he honestly has Devin White. That is a viable pick. I honestly, if I was in his position, and Noah fan, if I was in his position, Devin White would be very enticing, both for the fact that it would be the first time in web history. You make web history, and you also grab this potentially just cornerstone star linebacker, which is honestly a position in web that we have seen has a significant impact on our team's success. So it's not out of the realm that, that pick is an impact first round pick. But I will agree with both of you in saying that the chance to buy in on Samuel with that offense and fill in need after the Mike Evans trade, it makes a lot of sense, and I will agree with Samuel.
All right.
Is the pick in?
The pick is in. Which leaves us with one final first-round pick, and then we will do the second round, maybe in more of a lightning round fashion.
Yeah.
But, so rounding out the first round then for the third time in this year's draft is Dave.
Back again.
This is the team. He went out and grabbed Kamara. We've already talked about it, but now 3 first-round picks coming in, and here is the number 3 of those selections. So what do we do, Dave?
And still has 3 first-round picks. Jesus,
it's impressive. And this pick here. I'm thinking. I know AJ Brown has been falling, but God, for a team that has been struggling at defense for so long,
do we have 2 chances? We got 2 chances.
I don't.
Devin White.
I'm not going to lie to you. It almost feels like a no-brainer.
This
is a team that has been at the bottom of defensive scoring for
7
the
years.
entire history of web.
7 years. 7 years.
And and he already grabbed David Montgomery. This is a starting running back. He already grabbed Paris Campbell, potentially impact receiver. He already has guys on his offense that are going to be able to perform. Now's the time to lock in for the first time in your franchise's history a defensive player that won't be on waivers by week 7. I'm sorry. This is a guy that drafted Joey Bosa and let him slip through his fingers. And, that hurts. That hurts. And we've seen the impact that, Roquan Smith and Tremont Edmonds had for Dan last season. That's a starting core. That's a starting core going into the next season. Devin White, number 10 overall. I'm totally on board with it.
All right.
I'm in. He did trade for Jalen Smith. I just want to point that out, but I'm still all in on this Devin White pick. Yeah,
the more the better. The more the better. If he can revamp that whole thing, Jalen Smith, Devin White, he's got, Jordan Poyer was good last season in the safety spot. If he can add guys into that and pair them with these young offensive guys that he's, accumulated over the last 2 years, this could be a scary team.
And if he comes away in the first round with David Montgomery, Paris Campbell, and Devin White, he is feeling very good. Very good. That is nice freaking haul.
All right, guys. That is the first round 2019. And let me tell you, man, after running through it, there are some names on the board as we head into the second round. Names that.
But first, we have
word
to
from our sponsor.
Yeah, so we're actually introducing web.com Gold. So to get the second round of today's draft, make sure to sign up online. It's as much as a cup of coffee a day. And you get all your web.com extra content that you need. So
You could feed one African child a day, or you could buy web.com Gold.
so sign up today.
You actually can't play past week 7 this year if you don't buy the gold package. So
we didn't release the full thing. You get
Wow, breaking moves here on What Podcast.
pay to play at web.com.
all right.
All right. Are we doing this lightning round?
Exclusively for Web Gold subscribers. Yes.
Yeah.
Lightning round. This podcast, first of the year, featuring lightning round, this time in the form of second round picks. And we are going to do it pick by pick by pick. Each one of you has, including me and you, Frazier, have to pick a name in lightning time and lock it in for our picks. So
This is going to be interesting.
there's no. What is the situation where I can avoid making my own picks? I think I would have to be picking second. So,
Yes, that. I'm gonna go first. AJ Brown. Yes.
Okay. Lightning round. AJ Brown to Dan at 11. Kelvin is gonna pick Daryl Henderson.
Oh, Jesus. Oh my gosh.
Daryl.
The names are flying off the board. Corf, what do you have at tight end?
Travis Kelce.
Oh, yes. Noah Fant.
So he's washed, huh?
No fan.
Okay. Noah Fant 13.
Oh, I just got rid of something. Shit. I'm trying to type these at the same time.
It's
Oh my
falling
God.
apart.
Noah Fant. Who's up? Still Corf.
You for the moneymakers.
Tight end.
Noah Fant and Travis Kelce.
Who's the other linebacker?
Devin Bush.
Give him to me. Yes, him.
Devin Bush. All right.
Where are we? Where did Devin Bush
We
go?
are on
Oh,
15, and it's me picking for you.
Caleb has the next 3 picks.
Well, Caleb.
Who are you giving to me? I don't
Okay.
can't.
Number 15 for Caleb. I am going to go. Oh my God, I'm panicking.
Did he just like explode or something? What
Wait,
happened?
you tried to Joey Bosa, right?
Yeah, I did.
Did you?
Nick Bosa.
Nice.
I'm gonna pick for Caleb. Oh no. Hakeem Butler.
All right.
Butler and Caleb. Care to make your own selection here?
No. Give me
Okay,
some-
fine. I'll pick again for you.
Give him Kyler.
I will pick Kyler Murray.
All right.
Which means,
Carter's up.
Caleb, you're picking for Carter.
We're gonna go with Andy Isabella.
Okay. Tim, 19, Frazier.
Okay. Who's the only person he'd know at this point? A name he would know. They're all gone. I don't think he knows anymore.
It's over.
That's
He's gonna take. Shit. Give him Dwayne Haskins.
what?
Give him Dwayne Haskins.
Oh God.
That's my pick.
All right, Dwayne Haskins for Tim.
You would know that name.
And the final pick of the 2019 mock draft special, Josh Reed, defending champion, is going to take the best name on the board, a name that, according to ADP, should not be here. JJ Arcega-Whiteside.
Did you actually
Alright.
say that, Caleb?
Is that right?
That's right. I think it's Arcega Whiteside.
Arcega-Whiteside. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
That was lightning.
oh God, we did it.
Like a minute.
Craziness. All right.
The Caleb picks just came out of nowhere.
Dude, 3 defensive players in our top 20 this year. I don't know if we had any last season in the mock draft.
Doubt it.
I don't think we did either.
It's a changing of the guard in Webb. Dude, it's absolutely going to happen. Maybe not first round, but there's going to be at least 2 or 3 guys in the top 20 for sure.
Yeah.
I think the first round, man. I think it's happening. I think Parker Dave's going to take the plunge.
It makes a lot of sense for both of those teams. And, that's Devin White. That's a guy that, top 5 pick. But
all right, so I'm just going to do a quick housekeeping note. The cut day extra picks last year seemed to work pretty well. A couple of those guys stuck on rosters, so I think we're going to do that again. So I'm going to say let's do the 24th by 12:01 a.m. So basically the 23rd.
Okay.
Try and get your cuts in, clear space for draft picks. If you want extra picks at the end of the 4th round, clear those spaces, and then I'll count them up sometime in those 2 days and then get those ready. And it'll just be in the order of record.
And make sure, along with that, it's kind of the same thing, but just make sure that you have your keepers set so that when we do hit the draft and hit start draft, that all of a sudden we don't lose a roster, because that's happened. So make sure you set your keepers and figure out how many players you want.
And I'm going to send a message in case anyone didn't make it this far in the podcast.
Yeah, that's a good call.
All the non-web,
non-gold. Yeah, so basically everyone probably, but
more people.
All right, guys. Well, it was really nice to be back. I'm super happy that the Web 2019 season is on us. And the draft is about a week away. Crazy.
wow.
Our season preview pod in August.
Ooh, that's always a fun one.
Gotcha. Season previews up next, and then we hit the week-to-week grind.
What a grind.
Love it. I fucking love it.
It's Tuesday again. Gotta get back on that grind.
It's weird because I'm going to actually have more time.
Did we ever get Tim in?
Oh, no, I sent him the email, but
did you get the invite last chance? We're gonna have some dead air here.
yeah, that's fine. I can move him to the point that it happened anyway if he comes on. So
did you get the invite last chance? All right, I texted him. He seemed very excited. Is he drunk? He could be drunk.
Does he drink again? I never know if he's on a break.
Same honesty.
So he texted me, all caps, couple of typos, bring on impromptu guest, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then shortly go, a beer. I don't know what that means.
It's like he's drunk. Is he saying that the impromptu guest should have been a beer, or he's the beer?
God, what's going on?
Doesn't seem like he can anymore.
I'm calling him. Hello? Can you guys hear Tim?
Yeah, just put him on your mic. It sounds like he's a call-in.
Can you hear me?
Yep, they can hear you. Share your message right now.
My message I want to deliver is I will...
Make sure you talk loud and clear.
I have no idea who I'm drafting at 19. I can name 3 players in this draft. I assure you, come season time, I will beat every one of you motherfuckers. With or without Melvin Gordon.
It's probably going to be without.
That was awesome.
That's all? All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you.
Bye. All right. Well, on that note.
Well,
that
was nice.
That was nice. Let's Let's, you know what, guys?
Should we make it a
You know what we should do?
what?
Let's make it a great week.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.